What is the primary role of education? A. To integrate individuals into society. B. To foster societal and cultural advancement. C. To assimilate individuals into social norms and values. D. To assign individuals to appropriate social positions. What is the most important function of education? A. Socialization. B. Social and cultural innovation. C. Social integration. D. Social placement. Which type of education follows a structured, chronologically graded curriculum, primary, secondary, tertiary, that delivered primarily in a classroom setting? A. Formal education. B. Informal education. C. Non-formal education. D. Special education. Which of the following best defines formal education? A. Learning that occurs incidentally through daily life. Experiences. B. Structured learning that takes place in a planned setting. With a defined curriculum and assessment. C. Organized learning outside of traditional schooling, often focused on specific skills. D. Education tailored to meet the specific needs of individuals with disabilities. Which social institution is primarily responsible for the formal transmission of knowledge, skills, cultural norms, and values to society's members? A. Communication. B. Education. C. Innovation. D. Religion. Which type of education encompasses the continuous learning of attitudes, values, facts, skills, and knowledge gained from everyday experiences? A. Formal education. B. Informal education. C. Non-formal education. D. Special education. In Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which need represents the highest level of human motivation? A. Esteem needs. B. Physiological needs. C. Safety needs. D. Self-actualization. What is the best description of the manifest function of education? A. The development of peer relationships. B. The most significant educational purpose. C. The openly acknowledged and intended purpose of schooling. D. Unintended consequences arising from educational interactions. What is the most accurate interpretation of the statement? Education is a right, not a privilege. A. All students should be required to complete secondary education. B. Only higher education holds true value. C. Access to education is limited to the financially secure. D. Everyone is entitled to an education, regardless of socioeconomic status. Sarah, a college graduate, and her cousin David, a high school graduate, are both job hunting. Sarah quickly lands her dream job, while David faces challenges proving his skills during interviews and in application materials. How would you classify this situation in terms of the functions of education? A. Credentialism. B. Social inequality. C. Social integration. D. Tracking. Maria is a mother of twins who wishes to continue her education beyond high school but lacks the funds for college and considers working to support her family. What is the most suitable recommendation for Maria and her children? A. Maria should prioritize employment over further education. B. She should seek financial assistance from her children's father and remain a stay-at-home mother. C. Maria could enroll in vocational training to gain skills for desired employment. D. She should pursue scholarships and attend a four-year college, relying on her parents for childcare. Which of the following represents the most complex form of political organization, characterized by a single, sovereign government ruling over a defined territory and population? A. Bands. B. Chiefdoms. C. Tribes. D. State. What type of government characterized the Soviet Union under Joseph Stalin and Nazi Germany under Adolf Hitler? A. Democracy. B. Monarchy. C. Theocracy. D. Totalitarianism. Which type of non-state institution is a licensed financial entity offering various financial services, including loans and interest, to diverse clients? Banks.B, corporations.C, development agencies.D, trade/labor unions. What kind of non-state institution operates as a legally recognized single entity, governed by a board of directors? Banks.B, corporations.C, development agencies.D, trade/labor unions. Within civil society, what type of third-party organization acts as an intermediary, facilitating actions within the state but remaining independent of it? A mass media organization. B, non-governmental organization, NGO. C, religious organization. D, people's organization. What is the central principle of the separation of powers among the three branches of government? A, complete isolation of the three branches. B, a system of checks and balances among the branches. C, total independence of each branch. D, each branch governs uniquely and independently, with no interaction or shared growth. How can the relationship between state and non-state institutions be best described? A, authoritarian governments prohibit non-state institutions. B, the state governs society, within which non-state institutions operate. C, the state is incapable of governing without the support of non-state institutions. D, all banks, corporations, and other non-state entities must be affiliated with a particular state. What can be concluded about the roles of government agencies? A, their primary function is job creation. B, they are established to manage and regulate various state activities. C, the Department of Education, DepEd, is solely responsible for the welfare of overseas Filipino workers. D, government agencies exclusively serve as intermediaries for non-governmental organizations. What is the primary role of government agencies? A, primarily focused on job creation. B, established to manage and regulate various state activities. C, the Department of Education, DepEd, is solely responsible for the welfare of overseas Filipino workers. D, government agencies function exclusively as intermediaries for non-governmental organizations. How do non-governmental organizations, NGOs, function? A, NGOs are platforms for government corruption. B, NGOs provide information to governments. C, NGOs are comprised solely of young adults with ineffective advocacy. D, NGOs are unnecessary because the state can resolve all issues independently. How do cooperative banks and labor unions differ as non-state institutions? A, cooperative banks manage finances, labor unions do not. B, both consist of individuals in the same business. C, labor unions unite individuals with similar jobs. Cooperative banks unite members with shared economic interests. D, labor unions prioritize economic growth. Cooperative banks unite members with similar jobs, often acting against inequality. Which actions would effectively reduce social inequality? A, public education. Point 2. Financial advice for those in need. 3. Respecting all individuals regardless of background. Point 4. Using popular media to advocate for equality and equity. V. Publishing celebrity success stories. Vi. Promoting policy legislation addressing social inequality. A, 1, 2, 3, and 6. B, 2, 3, V, and 6. C, I, 3, 4, and 6. D, 2, 4, V, and 6. What classroom guidelines would foster gender equality and allow all students to reach their full potential? A, mutual respect. Point 2. Rotating cleaning duties. 3. Girls designing the bulletin board. Point 4. Acknowledging individual differences. V. Boys serving as peace officers. A, I 2, 3, and 4. B, 2, 4, and V. C, 1, 2, and 4. D, I, 3, and V. Which concept describes how societies integrate new ideas and technologies, often involving the adoption of the elements from other cultures, e.g., Korean makeup, the Japanese food? A cultural change. B, cultural diffusion. C, cultural innovation. D, cultural management. What type of exchange drives the global spread of localized cultural symbols like American movies, Japanese cuisine, Korean dramas, and Thai massage? A capital flow. B, cultural flow. C, global flow. D, information flow. Which social movement specifically addresses the overall status of women in society? A, environmentalism. B, feminism. C, reform movement. D, revolution. Under which migration category do overseas Filipino workers fall? A circulation migration. B, internal migration. C, international migration. D, transnational migration. In an open stratification system, which class possesses significant wealth and income sources? A, lower class. B, middle class. C, upper class. D, working class. Which system of social stratification, prevalent in India for centuries, includes the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras? A caste system. B, estate system. C, ethnic system. D, social system. Which social stratification dimension categorizes the individuals as professionals, non-professionals, the business owners, or skilled workers? A, education. B, kinship. C, occupation. D, income source. What is the primary concept of wealth in relation to social stratification? A, a person's social standing. B, the ability to exert influence over others. C, the variety of income sources. D, the total amount of resources a person possesses. Which of the following best explains the concept of social stratification? A, it refers to the things that are wanted and sought after by most people in the society. B, it refers to the act of moving one status to another. Status of persons or groups of persons in society. C, it describes the degree of standing attached to one's position in society as linear. Material interest and reflection. D, it is described as a specific way or system of arranging, ranking, or classifying people into different categories and classes. How would you describe the typical characteristics of the upper class? A, modest income. B, low income. C, substantial wealth and income. D, poverty, homelessness, and unemployment. How would you demonstrate the social stratification? A, map the distribution of wealth and income across different neighborhoods. B, analyze the educational attainment and occupational prestige of different social groups. C, examine the representation of different social groups in positions of power and influence. D, compare the access to healthcare, housing, and other resources among different social classes. Which of the following inequalities does the non-discrimination in terms of employment in the field of military, police, and other similar services that include the same promotional privileges and opportunities as their men counterparts address? A, ethnic inequality. B, gender inequality. C, global inequality. D, social inequality. Which scenario exemplifies social mobility? A. Jam relocated from Cebu to Palawan for a fresh start. B. Kian, from a poor fishing family, became a teacher through education. C. Lito, from a rural area, moved to the city for better educational opportunities. D. Pia works part-time while studying full-time and caring for her grandparents. What criteria would you use to assess political stratification? A. The distribution of wealth and income among different social groups. B. The degree of political consensus and agreement among different social groups. C. The level of political participation and engagement among different social groups. D. The representation of different social groups in positions of political power and influence. Which of the following groups typically faces greater societal disadvantages and limited influence due to their social and/or physical characteristics? A. Feminists. B. The less fortunate. C. Minority groups. D. People with disabilities. Which type of social inequality is covered by the 1997 enactment of the Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act, IPRA? A. Ethnic minorities. B. Minority groups. C. Person with disabilities. D. Inequality in the access to social, political, and symbolic capital. Which Philippine government program provides conditional cash grants to the nation's poorest families? A. SK Program. B. Malasakit Program. C. Pantawid Pamalayang Pilipino Program, for PS. D. Social Pension Program. Which term describes the unequal access to opportunities based on social class or status? A. Gender inequality. B. Global stratification. C. Social exclusion. D. Social inequality. Which Philippine law mandates free tuition and the waiver of other fees in state universities and colleges? A. Agrarian Reform Law. B. Conditional Cash Transfer Program. C. Sangguniang Kabataan Reform Act of 2015. D. Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Act. What is the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development of the United Nations? A. This agenda seeks to eradicate discrimination. B. Selected countries join this agenda for development. C. This agenda is a plan of action for people, the planet, and prosperity. D. This seeks to realize primary education as a fundamental human right. Which of the following statements support the idea of inequality in the access of social capital? A. It is the capital pertaining to the money possessed by an individual. B. Social capital is the trust, goodwill, and influence possessed by a politician. C. Social capital is the ability of people to act together to pursue a common goal. D. It is the resources that one possesses which are a function of honor, prestige, or recognition. As a student and community member supporting the Magna Carta of Women, what should you do if you witness workplace discrimination against a woman? A. Ignore the situation. B. Offer the woman a lower-paying job. C. Let the community handle the issue. D. Report the discrimination to the appropriate authorities. How do historical events contribute to global inequality? A. Resource-rich states have more leverage. B. Corporations and organizations operate on a global scale. C. States that have superior military power can bully other countries. D. The historical process of colonization resulted in an uneven reliance relationship between the former colonizer and the colony.